Adoption of the regular agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt the regular agenda?
Second.
Are there any comments or discussions from the board? Motion by Dr. Ruiz, second by Ms. Gomez. Roll call vote. Ms. Bruno?
Aye.
Ms. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Pablo?
Aye.
Dr. Ruiz? And I. Motion passes. Item 4.1, R. Jacobs Elementary School presentation. Dr. Pacheco, welcome.
Hello? Song?
Okay. Good evening, Governing Board, Executive Cabinet, and educational partners. I'm Dr. Veronica Pacheco, the proud principal of R. Jacobs Elementary. It is a true honor to share with you the inspiring progress happening at our school. This year, we focused on strengthening student achievement through our school plan, especially in mathematics, an area we identified for growth. Guided by LCAP Goal 1, we have embraced professional learning, classroom coaching, and a commitment to rigorous standards-aligned instruction to support every learner's success. Tonight, thank you. Tonight I will begin by sharing our students' growth in math as shown through our Ames Web Plus screeners from fall to spring across kindergarten through 5th grade. Then I will walk you through our professional learning journey with the VCLA Mathematics Project, highlighting how both our teachers and administrators engage deeply, especially during our lab days. You will also see how this learning came to life in classrooms through hands-on activities like counting collections, including powerful moments of cross-grade collaboration. And finally, we will close with a short video celebrating our year together and a professional milestone, completing my first year as principal of this incredible school community. Okay. Before we dive into grade level outcomes, I would like to briefly explain the two visuals you will see. On the left is a tier transition summary in pyramid form, showing how students shifted across risk levels. Tier 3, high risk in red, Tier 2, moderate level in yellow, and Tier 1, low risk in green, from fall to winter to spring. On the right is a line graph that tracks those same shifts over time, helping us see broader trends. Together, these visuals offer a clear, meaningful picture of student growth, mirroring what we have seen in our classrooms. This year, our kindergartners made incredible progress in math. In the fall, nearly 75% were identified as high risk in the red, but by spring, that number had dropped dramatically. In fact, the majority, 59%, are now thriving in the low risk category in the green. We saw steady growth through winter, and by spring, the transformation was clear. Tier 1 low risk in the green rose from just 10% to 59%. Tier 3 high risk in the red was cut by 39 percentage points. And Tier 2 moderate risk in the yellow decreased to just 7%, meaning most students made strong upward gains. These results speak to the hard work of our teachers and the potential of every young learner when given the right support. Our first graders showed steady and meaningful growth in math throughout the year. In the fall, more than 60% were identified as high risk in the red, while only 22% were in the low risk group in the green. But with consistent support and instruction, we saw encouraging shifts by spring. By year's end, Tier 1 low risk, students rose from 22% to 37%, seen in the green. Tier 3 high risk dropped from 63% to 47%, as seen in the red. And Tier 2 moderate risk in the yellow stayed relatively steady, showing many students moved directly into Tier 1 low risk. These gains reflect the resilience of our students and the dedication of our instructional team. Our second graders made one of the most dramatic turnarounds this year. In the fall, over half were considered high risk Tier 3 in the red in math, with the rest fairly evenly split between moderate, Tier 2 in the yellow, and low risk, Tier 1 in the green. Winter brought only slight movement, but by spring, the shift was remarkable. Tier 1 low risk in the green more than doubled, jumping by 33 percentage points. Tier 3 high risk in the red dropped from 58% to 38%. And Tier 2 moderate risk in the yellow nearly disappeared, showing students made strong, clear progress. This growth is a testament to our students' persistence and our educators' focused support. Our third graders showed solid, steady growth in math over the year. The percentage of students in Tier 1 low risk in the green nearly doubled, rising from 25% in the fall to 43% by spring. At the same time, Tier 3 high risk in the red dropped from 58% to 48%, reflecting fewer students in the high risk category. We also saw a sharp decline in Tier 2 moderate risk in the yellow, suggesting that many students made meaningful gains and advanced directly into Tier 1 low risk in the green. Overall, this data highlights a clear and encouraging upward trend for our third grade learners. Our fourth graders showed steady progress throughout the year as well, with the most exciting gains coming in the spring. While the percentage of high-risk Tier 3 in the red students stayed fairly stable around 49 to 50%, the moderate risk group, Tier 2 in yellow, steadily declined, dropping sharply by 8% in the spring. This shift tells an encouraging story. Many students moved beyond Tier 2 moderate risk and into Tier 1 low risk, showing that their hard work and our instructional focus paid off. It was a strong finish to the year for our fourth grade team and students. Finally, our fifth graders also made steady, encouraging gains in math this year. High-risk students, Tier 3 in the red, decreased from 52% to 45%, with the biggest drop between fall and winter. And at the same time, the low-risk Tier 1 in the green group grew significantly, from 26% to 44%, showing a strong upward trend. We also saw a steady decline in moderate risk Tier 2 in the yellow students, suggesting clearer shifts. Many students either made solid progress into Tier 1 low risk in the green or identified areas needing additional support. These results reflect focused effort and meaningful learning in our upper grade classrooms. Now that we have looked at our student data, I will share how we got there. Through powerful professional learning alongside the UCLA Mathematics Project. The UCLA Mathematics Project has been an incredible partner in helping us grow as educators. With decades of experience, they focus on creating meaningful, equity-centered math learning for schools like ours. Their work has truly helped us become more reflective, responsive, and confident math leaders at HESD. Our learning journey began on August 8, 2024, right at the start of the school year. HESD administrators took part in Mathematics for All training, where we stepped into the shoes of math learners engaging in choral counting, problem solving, and math games. It was a powerful reminder of how learning feels from a student's perspective, and it deepened our understanding of the California Math Framework and our role as instructional leaders in bringing it to life. We were also introduced to whitebooks, erasable whiteboard tools that sparked immediate excitement. We saw their potential to boost engagement and support active thinking. We quickly committed to bringing them into classrooms, something you'll see in the next slide. Here you can see our fifth graders in Mrs. Barnes' classroom using whitebooks in action. These tools brought a number of benefits. They boosted student engagement, made it easier to differentiate instruction, and allowed students to revise their thinking without fear of mistakes. Most importantly, they have created a space for collaborative, risk-free learning where every voice feels valued. To support our growth, we added 3 powerful math-focused books to our professional libraries. Our teachers dedicated every professional learning day this year to working with the UCLA Mathematics Project, diving deep into strategies that support strong, equitable instruction. They also took part in lab days where they experienced live classroom demonstrations, received real-time coaching, and reflected on their own practice. Here you see some of our amazing 3rd and 5th grade teachers engaged in thoughtful collaboration, analyzing student work during one of our professional learning days. This reflective time together helped deepen our understanding of how students think and learn. Teachers were invited to examine how students attended to, interpreted, and responded to a math test. One of the most powerful takeaways was recognizing just how differently students approach problem solving and how these insights can shape more responsive instruction. So far, we have completed 3 lab days, with 2 more coming up on June 2nd and June 9th, bringing us to a total of 5 this year. Each session involves a small group of teachers, 1 per grade level, and includes a classroom demonstration, real-time coaching, and immediate feedback. It has been an incredibly meaningful way to learn, reflect, and grow together. You can see our wonderful presenter from the UCLA Mathematics Project pictured here on the far right. Did we get ahead one slide? Oh yes, there she is. All right, you can, next slide, thank you. Here, Mrs. Alana, our kindergarten teacher, is leading a lesson in Mrs. Orozco's 2nd grade classroom with Ms. Ment, one of our 1st grade teachers, observing. Also part of this lab day were Mr. Havagi, 3rd grade, Mr. Nahan, 4th grade, and Mr. Friedman, 5th grade, all learning together, sharing insights, and growing as a team. Earlier that day, Ms. Ment also led a lesson in Mr. Friedman's 5th grade class. So where did all this learning lead us? What did we do with the knowledge and reflection we gained? We counted. Teachers were introduced to counting collections through our training and quickly brought it to life in their classrooms. Here you see it in action in Mrs. Smith's 1st grade class, where students are joyfully engaging with numbers in meaningful, hands-on ways. Here you see Mrs. Aguilar's 3rd graders deep in their counting collection work. In the center photo, you can see how students are not just counting, but also representing their thinking on paper, making their math visible and meaningful. To support this work school-wide, we are planning a shared counting collection library where teachers can access materials easily. We are currently exploring the storage space and shelving to bring this vision to life. Both teachers and students were energized by the opportunity to work across grade levels. These cross-age counting collections created rich learning experiences and fostered a sense of connection and mentorship between students of different ages, and it built both academic skills and school community. We are incredibly grateful for the support of our district, especially in strengthening our work with counting collections. Our TK teachers also receive dedicated professional learning along with classroom lesson demonstrations to bring strategies to life. And throughout the year, district leaders joined us for our Haycox Lab Days, standing beside us as partners in learning. It's a lot. And now, a special treat to close our time together. As I mentioned earlier, this short video celebrates our joyful year as a school community and also marks a personal milestone that fills me with pride. My first year as principal at Haycox. In honoring our incredible Indigenous student population, I have chosen music that reflects and uplifts their cultural heritage. You will hear Orgullo Mixteco by Chucho Ponce y Los Daddies de Chinatla, a vibrant blend of cumbias sonideras and cumbias poblana. Listen for shout-outs of Tlapa Guerrero and enjoy the rhythm, pride, and heart woven into every moment of this highlight reel. Enjoy. The music. No music? Missing out.
You're welcome to sing for us.
Oh, gosh.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. That's too bad. That's okay.
Do you have the music on your phone, Dr. Chatter?
I don't. Guess I can try. Hold on. Oh, you would have all been dancing by now.
We paused it.
Okay. Of course, I turned off my phone, so I'll be right there. One moment. This was just the song that I had added and uploaded. Let's see, I think we can play it. Ready?
Yes.
We'll start dancing at once.
Un saludo para todos los pecuanos de México. Escúchala.
Oops, sorry.
Y esto es algo que viene del corazón.
That's the end of our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Item, do we have any questions from the board? No? Okay. Item 4.2, 2024-25, art program, Ms. Goldsboro.
This is an annual event in our district, and every year it gets better and better to the point where we have so much art, we don't have enough walls to hang it on. So next year, we're looking at getting even a bigger venue, continuing with here and expanding. And I'd like to introduce our visual and performing arts coordinator, Karina Colbert, to come up and to introduce her team. Thank you.
Hi. Well, good evening, members of our elementary board. My name is Karina Colbert, and I have the distinct honor as our visual and performing arts coordinator this year. This is my first year in this role, and I'd like to begin by expressing my heartfelt appreciation for your trust in me and our team that you have placed in our steadfast commitment to our students in our district. Thanks to your continued support, we've been able to offer meaningful, enriching, and joyful arts experiences to our students across all of our grade levels. From our vibrant classroom activities to live performances and museum visits, it has been a transformative year for all of our students, filled with creativity, growth, and collaboration. But before I continue, I would like to take a moment to recognize our exceptional VAPA team and our dedicated educators. So first, I'd like to start with Katie Guerrero, who infuses creativity and imagination to our first and second grade classrooms. Next, we have Danielle Rios-White and Dana Neighbors, who engage and inspire our 3rd through 5th grade students with purpose and passion. Next, I would like to bring up Rebecca Briggs and Cesar Aldana, our exceptional junior high art teachers whose dedication empowers our older students to discover and refine their artistic voices. And we'll hear from them in a little bit as well. But this year, we've also expanded our program through enriching community partnerships. Our 4th grade students experienced the magic of the New West Symphony performance at the Oxnard Performing Arts Center. Meanwhile, our 3rd through 5th graders at Sunkist had the opportunity to attend a live Shakespeare production at the Thousand Oaks Civic Arts Plaza. An unforgettable experience brought literature to life. Looking ahead, we're excited about several upcoming trips and experiences. We worked with the Getty for our 6th graders to explore world-class art and culture. Our 3rd graders are set to experience the Nutcracker Ballet performed by a local ballet company. And our 2nd graders will engage in hands-on learning experiences at the Santa Paula Art Museum. We are also incredibly grateful for our expanding network of dance program partners, including Hip Hop Mindset, Dance for Wellness, Dancing with Our Future Stars, and Breathe, a foundation for artists. Each of these organizations bring a unique blend of creativity, movement, and mentorships. Their programs not only promote physical activity, but also help our students build confidence, foster teamwork, and experience the joy of out to highlight the visual and performing arts with a special focus on inspiring work being produced by our junior high students. Under the guidance of Ms. Briggs, Mr. Aldana, and our contract teacher of Mr. Gonzalez, our students have created pieces that reflect not only technical skill and artistic growth, but also individual voices and their personal development. We are honored to showcase their work and celebrate the profound role the arts play in shaping our well-rounded, expressive learners. I would also like to extend my deepest gratitude to two individuals tonight their support has been instrumental in this year's success. To Ms. Cosgrove, thank you for your insightful leadership, your deep understanding of the VAPA vision, and your unwavering belief in our program. Your guidance has been a source of strength and inspiration. And to Ms. Delgado and her team, Ms. Delgado, I know you're watching. Thank you for your generous support and your willingness to open your school, give us 2 classrooms to house our supplies and host our in-services and our students, and your ongoing collaboration. Your contributions have truly helped and moved the program and helped it take root and thrive. Right now, I'd like to bring forward our junior high teachers, and they're going to share.
Thank you. Good evening, staff, families out there. Good evening. We would like to first express our deepest gratitude to Wainimi Elementary School District and the school board for their dedications to the boards in our schools. It is your support that helps foster creative, expressive, and dedicated students. As you can see tonight, our students have created amazing pieces for the show, and we are thrilled to be able to celebrate their success.
As Vincent Van Gogh once said, great things are done by a series of small things brought together. It's important to remember that these wonderful pieces that our students have created were not done without hours of dedication and practice throughout this year. The artwork on these walls represents countless hours of learning new techniques and styles, reworking ideas, lots of effort, and of course, problem solving. Art is an amazing tool that teaches us so many skills. It can test our abilities, help us feel connected, and often frustrate us. It is through these shared experiences that we learn patience and understanding, not just for ourselves, but for one another as well. So tonight, as we enjoy all of the wonderful artwork on the walls, I just love it, right? Know that this connection we share with it was created with many moments that challenged each student. Let's celebrate their growth, not just as students, but as true artists. We're so proud of them. Thank you again for your continued support. Are there any questions for us?
Well, on behalf of our entire VAPA team, our students, our community partners, we do thank you for your continued support in the transformative power of the arts. Your support helping to cultivate a generation of confident, expressive, and inspired young people. It is a privilege to be a part of important work, and we look forward to all that we will continue to accomplish together. We also worked together to create a brochure that was laid in front of you, which is now digitally on our website, for you to provide information about our different programs and what we've accomplished this year. And again, please let us know if you have any questions, reach out, we're here, and we thank you very much for your support.
Thank you so much.
On behalf of the board, we want to thank you for making these contributions to our kids in the district. Every year it gets better and better, so thank you for your leadership.
Why, thank you.
Item 5.1, oral communications. Please note that per recurring board bylaw 9323, speaking time is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Do we have any general speakers? Okay, the speakers that we have tonight, they are related to agenda item 8.1, and they will wait until that item of the day. Thank you for being here. Next is CSEA, Mr. Ayala.
Hello, everyone. Currently, we are in negotiations with the district. Everything's progressing forward. We had 2 meetings, and our next meeting is this Wednesday. And that's it. That's all I have for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is HEA, Mr. Gomez.
Good evening, I'm going to make it short as well. We finished our negotiations and ratified our vote on Friday, so option 1 on the calendar passed. Our exec board has elections running this week, so all the board is up for re-election, or it's open to anyone who wants to run. And this week, we started testing, so it's fun at school right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5.2, written communications.
We just have one item. We received our letter from the California State Controller that they completed their desk review of our annual audit report, and we can now release a portion of the audit fee that is withheld under the provisions of California Ed Code Section 14505.
Thank you. Item 6.1, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 28, 25. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve. Second.
Motion by Mrs. Bruno, second by Ms. Gomez. Are there any comments or discussion from the board? Roll call. Ms. Bruno?
Aye.
Ms. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Paulo?
Aye.
Dr. Weiss?
Aye.
And I. Motion passes. Adoption of the consent agenda. Are there any requests from the board, staff, or audience to remove an item or transfer it from the consent agenda to the action agenda? No? Do we have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion by Dr. Weiss, second by Ms. San Paulo. Roll call, Mrs. Bruno?
Aye.
Ms. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Paulo?
Aye.
Dr. Weiss? And I. Motion passes. Okay. So we're going to start with the item 8.1, combination classes, and we're going to start calling the speakers. The first speaker will be Victoria Cabrera. If you can please come to the front. Welcome.
Good evening, board members. My name is Victoria Cabrera, and I am a Holly Beach elementary parent where my daughter Emma is a kindergartner. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak once again, as I spoke at a previous board meeting where myself and other parents raised concerns about our future school year with the combination kindergarten first grade class and the return of Mrs. Kilby after numerous complaints had been made by students and teachers. I am aware that round 2 of teacher movement opened up today and that the district is actively looking for a kindergarten first grade combo class teacher, and that Mrs. Sager will not be returning to teach at her school due to the combination class, and that Mrs. Kilby is still on the roster. Since the board meeting, a few parents met with our principal, Mrs. Schellenberger, to bring our concerns and questions, which she answered the best she could. Not a lot of options moving out of the combo class, but a possibility of increasing the pair time to full-time, as they are only partial as of now. She also mentioned she was once a combination teacher, and she explained that although challenging, it was doable with a lot of help. The more I thought about it, I felt like we were trying to put a square shape into a triangle. It can be done with a lot of effort, but there will be nicks and cuts that eventually have to be fixed, and, if you will, side effects that our children will have to endure. I'm sure there are statistics, research, and varying opinions on combination classes, which you know more about, I'm sure, than we do. but our goal is to be proactive, to put in work and effort to prevent the combination class, rather than putting that effort into making it. Regardless of my work schedule, because that's how how important this issue is to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Allison Hamill. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me again as well. My name is Allison. I'm a mom of a current TK and first grade student, one of which is in the Miss Sagers class who will be leaving. For me, I'm here not to be naive to the fact that combination classes happen, or to argue that we are, as a small school, should be above and beyond the standards that need to be had for school class sizes. I'm also not here to tell you to find funding where there is none. But as we understand our position from Mr. Castellano, that we hopefully are close to the numbers that we need to have the full class sizes. I think the last we talked, we were somewhere around 35 in kinder and 36 for first for the following year. And to our understanding, we need to get to around 40 to have individual 2 full classes. So we're hoping that this will resolve itself, but understanding that we don't want to bank on that, and here's why. So we're in a unique set of circumstances for the following year. As was mentioned a little bit already, we have one first grade teacher who is not reliable. And we have a second first grade teacher who was supposed to be teaching the first grade kinder combo, but has chosen to leave rather than have the combination class for herself. Then in kindergarten, what we have currently, we have a TK kinder teacher who is moving on because of education requirements that she's not allowed to stay. And we have a kinder teacher who is still using handouts and curriculum from 2 previously retired teachers. So what that all amounts to in my head is now you have a kinder 1 combination position open, but all the resources around her or him that would be hired into this position are not foundationally reliable. So I had previously spoken with a K1 combo teacher from Ventura who's done it 2 years in a row. And she spoke how crucial it was to have other teachers as her support basis to put together curriculum and print out handouts for her so that she could focus on the combination class itself and how to handle that resources. So I feel like we're looking at hiring into a position that has no support for that person. So with all of those moving parts and lack of strong educational leadership for those 2 grades, I fear that it's our kids who will suffer.
20 seconds.
Thank you. And that the assumption that we can't get the numbers now, we're also fearful that the combo will continue with our kids for the years to come. So I know it's not a simple fix, but I do hope that you will work with us and help us to help you come to a resolution for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Brooke Kins. Welcome.
Good evening, Dr. Walker and school board members. My name is Brooke Kins. I have 2 students at Hollywood Beach. Thank you for addressing a concern about the proposed kindergarten first grade combo class at Hollywood Beach School. You have all received a letter signed by 45 parents expressing our apprehension about this particular combo. We are a passionate group of parents who love our children and our school and want to find a solution, allowing our students to remain enrolled at Hollywood Beach for the 2025-2026 school year. The fact that we are losing great teachers and that this proposed position is now open at our school speaks volumes about how undesirable the situation is for both students and staff.
We believe it's every child's right to receive an age-appropriate education. Instruction must be tailored to meet each age group's needs and developmental stage. The difference in the educational maturity of these two groups is astronomical. Kindergartners are just learning their letters, basic sounds, CBC words, and writing their names. First graders are learning to read. They are working on vowel pairs, learning rules of the English language, and writing opinion pieces. Many children have not attended TK or preschool, and kindergarten is their first exposure to school. Many cannot write their name or know their letters and sounds or numbers. They must be taught expectations and routines and are establishing social skills. They are at the pre-primer stage. If taught first grade content, they would be lost and will not develop crucial phonemic awareness and necessary phonics skills to become successful readers later on. The same goes for number literacy. First grade is a crucial year because it lays the foundation for a child's future academic success by focusing on developing essential literacy and numeracy skills, which are building blocks for learning in all subjects. The primary focus is to develop students' skills in reading, writing, and mathematics. First graders are at the primer stage and need a lot of support and repetition in order to build a strong foundation for reading literacy. First graders are concentrating on reading comprehension and fluency. If being taught kindergarten content and not challenged, enough students will become bored. Reliance on pairs in the classroom, however helpful, doesn't solve the problem. Pairs are not credentialed teachers and should not be expected to help carry out or deliver curriculum to students. They are not trained to teach phonics. A combo class will do a disservice to both grade levels, as these are both crucial developmental years and should set students up for future academic success. I think we can all agree that this specific combo is particularly challenging and will not benefit any of our students. We implore you to find the funding necessary to provide 2 separate sections of kindergarten and 2 separate sections of first grade at Hollywood Beach School. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next, Kevin Kent, welcome.
Good evening, Superintendent and board members. My name is Kevin Kent. I have 2 kids at Hollywood Beach School, and I'm here tonight as a concerned parent to ask you to reconsider the creation of the kinder first grade combination class. At first glance, a combination class might seem like a creative solution to enrollment or budget challenges, but research shows it can come at a real cost to students, especially in early education. According to a 2013 report by the Rural School and Community Trust, students in combination classrooms, particularly in lower grades, tend to show lower academic performance compared to those in single grade settings. Young learners thrive when instruction is developmentally appropriate and tailored to their stage of learning. Kinder and first graders are in very different places when it comes to literacy, math skills, and even attention spans. Blending 2 critical early learning stages into one classroom sets students up for uneven academic and social development. Kinder is a foundation for learning to read, while first grade is where students begin to read to learn. A 2011 study from the American Education Research Association also found that students in split grade classrooms, especially in lower grades, often perform lower in reading, math compared to those in single grade classrooms due to the divided attention of the teacher and the differing curriculum requirements. Expecting a teacher with an assistant to meet both groups' needs is simply unfair. It stretches resources too thin, which can lead to burnout for teachers and missed opportunities for students. A 2022 study in educational research showed that students in combo classes report higher stress and lower satisfaction. 2 factors strongly tied to turnover. Rumor has it we've already lost a phenomenal teacher because they did not want to teach a combo class at Hollywood Beach School this year. As a parent, we want to support you, but we also need to advocate for what's best for our kids. Kinder and first grade are foundational years. They set up the tone for everything else that follows. Let's give our youngest learners the full focused attention they deserve in a single grade classroom. Please don't move forward with a combo class. There must be a better way. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, Stephen McIver. Welcome.
Good evening, board members. Thanks for allowing me to speak again. I'm speaking as both a parent and volunteer and husband of a dual room mom. I have a TK and first grader. My first grader is currently in Miss Sager's class, which, let's do something on a positive note. She's amazing. Been fantastic this whole year. Back to the negative note. I heard that she's leaving. She's been pushed out due to the fact that she was pushed to have to do the combo class next year. Miss Sager, if you're listening at all, we're super sorry this has happened to you. We'll greatly miss you. Team here, I urge you not to combine the kindergarten and first grade at Hollywood Beach School. I'd like to highlight a few statistics here. Overall, I believe you understand the problem, but wanted to remind us all of a few points here. There are literally two different grades. Developmental disparity. 1 year is enormous at the ages 5, 6, and 7. Kindergartners are just learning to identify letters. First graders must read short stories and solve addition. Standards mismatch. I believe that the California's content standards list 45 distinct literacy math skills for kindergarten and 54 different skills for first graders. We're now asking a teacher to deliver 2 full curricula simultaneously without shortchanging one group of over 99 different distinct standards. I find that absolutely impossible. Literacy is time sensitive. The phonemic awareness predicts later reading more accuracy than IQ or SES, according to the National Reading Panel. These skills must be taught daily in small groups by a credentialed teacher. Literally, in a split class, at least 50% of that daily reading block disappears. Half the lesson equals maybe half the progress. Young children can't work quietly by themselves. If you've ever had a child, you absolutely know this is true. Hey, son, daughter, please go over there, work by yourself for a few minutes. It says that about 10 to 15 minutes is what a student can do by themselves. Anything past that, it's not going to work. Please explain to me how you can do context switching with a child every 10 minutes. Teach these kids for 10 minutes, have them do something by themselves with this group, then go back to the other group for 10 minutes and context switch over and over. As an adult, I would find that very difficult, let alone 5, 6, or 7-year-old. Aides, invaluable helpers, amazing, but literally state law bars them from delivering core instruction. Using aides to cover one grade effectively gives every child half of a teacher. Please don't say that your hands are tied. You're the team that can affect change. Is the legacy that you want to leave behind that you helped children get behind, or that you dug in and figured out how to affect change? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Kyle Mitchell. Welcome.
Good evening, Superintendent and Board. My name is Kyle Mitchell. I have one student in kindergarten at Hollywood Beach School and another 3-year-old that will soon be entering, ideally. I think my fellow concerned parents have gotten the point across pretty substantially. We all stand together on the same position that we would like to see the combo class gone away with and get at least one full first grade class. So I'm not going to talk your ear off about that anymore. I'd rather just show my support in numbers by coming and expressing the same sentiment that everybody else has already expressed to you. And I really appreciate you guys meeting with us today and hearing us out, and I hope we can come to a solution.
Thank you. Next is Krista Pomisano.
Good evening, Superintendent and school board members. My name is Krista Pomisano, and I currently have a daughter in kindergarten at Hollywood Beach School. I'm here today to speak about why combined classes, where 2 grade levels are taught in the same room, specifically kinder and first grade, are not a good idea, especially for the students who need consistency and support to thrive. Let me begin with a personal story. My daughter is in kindergarten. Recently, her test scores for reading and math were lower than expected.
As a parent, of course, I was concerned, but when I met with her teacher, she told me something that gave me a whole new perspective. She said that those test scores do not reflect who my daughter really is in the classroom. She's bright, engaged, and always raising her hand with the correct answers. She's confident and eager to learn. But here's my concern. If she were placed in a combination class with both kindergarten and first grade students, that confidence could fade. She's younger for her grade, and although she tends to thrive with older peers, a mixed grade classroom could make it harder for her to feel safe asking for help when she's struggling. I worry that she may hold back, not wanting to feel different or behind in front of her older and younger classmates. And it's not just about her. In combined classes, teachers have to juggle two separate curriculums and meet the needs of two age groups at once. That's an enormous challenge, even for the best educators. It reduces the time and attention each child receives, and it makes it harder for the teacher to really understand where each student is in their learning journey. Education is not one size fits all. Every child deserves a learning environment where they can feel supported, confident, and focused. Combined classes make that harder to achieve. We shouldn't put our children in a position where their potential is limited just because of classroom logistics. In conclusion, I believe combined classes are not in the best interest of our students at Hollywood Beach. Let's focus on giving our children the focused, grade-appropriate education they need to succeed, not just now, but in the long run. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. We will move to item 8.1, combination class and Ms. Crossgrove with the presentation.
Good evening. This is an informational item. In this informational item, will address two, as requested by the board, regarding combination classes, and that will be the impact on scheduling and enrollment. And then that will be done by Mr. Castellano, and then I will be talking about pedagogical considerations.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and share a little bit about kind of scheduling and enrollment, and I want to start with some district enrollment numbers, which kind of leads to our staffing every year. So I went to the last 10 years just so we can look at our total district enrollment. And if you notice currently this year, we had 6,690 students enrolled in our district. And that's about a 300 student drop from last year, okay? So we kind of look at those numbers and start big with what is our current district enrollment and what does our staffing look like? And when we do projections, we kind of look towards the next year as to what we might need. So I just wanted to give you a context. You can see over the last 10 years, we've declined by about 1,700 students. And hopefully this upcoming year, we can stop that slide and find some stability with our enrollment. But we just never know until the students actually show up come August. Dave, if you could go to the next slide, please. So some things that we definitely need to consider as we look at staffing every year is not only our district enrollment, but we're also looking at our school enrollment. And obviously we have 11 schools, and each school is unique with the number of students they have. The number of students entering upon, at the beginning of the year in TK and kindergarten, as well as the number of students leaving in elementary school from 5th grade or 6th grade. So within, each school, we also have the enrollment by grade level. So, we have our kinder enrollment or 1st grade enrollment. So we need to look at the number of students at each grade level to help determine what our staffing requirement would be at the school site as well as at the grade level. Another consideration that we need to look at is also the programs offered at the school. So currently we have 4 elementary schools that have dual language programs. So we have students and we look at the enrollment in those programs as well as the sheltered immersion program at that site. So we need to make sure that we have at those sites not only teachers at each grade level, but also teachers who meet the credential requirements for a B-CLAD, as well as the enrollment to make sure that those classes are staffed for those programs. A third thing that we look at when we are considering staff numbers at each site is we do have a TK3 grade span adjustment requirement put forth by the state. So in that grade span, we need to maintain a grade span average across those grades of 24:1. So we want to make sure that, we are in compliance with that requirement as we're looking at staffing those schools and those grade levels. And again, that's a grade span average of 24:1 over those TK through third grade classrooms. In addition, next year we'll be in full implementation of our TK program, and the state is requiring that we staff our TK classrooms in the upcoming year at 20:2. So we will be full implementation with that, and we need to make sure that we do not exceed that number in those TK classrooms in the upcoming year. So those are kind of the considerations that we look at as we not only look at each school, but the program and each grade level. And that's, we really take a good analysis at each school to look at the number of students at the grade level, and then we kind of see, do we have enough students to make sure that we can staff those grade levels appropriately, or do we need to combine some grade levels which would be more efficient for that school site as we look at staffing? I put together a chart here for you that gives us the last 10 years, just so you can see kind of our journey with combination classes. So this has all of our elementary schools, and back to 2015-16, we put in the combo classes that we had at each site, just so you can see and get an idea of where we were in 15-16, and where we move up at the very end. You can see our projection for 25-26. I would like to point out that when you look at the years, post-COVID of 2020, 2021, 21-22, and 22-23 moving forward, we did receive federal funding during those years for COVID relief, and we used that funding to help minimize, we try to keep our class size numbers down, as well as we try to minimize combo classes during those years. And those funds, many have expired, so now we're kind of moving forward with that. I would like to point out that in 25-26, you can see we have across the district about 8 combo classes projected. You can see 3 at Bard, 1 at Beach, 2 at Hathaway, 1 at Haycox, and 1 at Parkview. So this kind of gives us a historical perspective on our combination classes in our district. So as we're looking towards next year, I kind of wanted to give you some data and some information to consider. So in the district, we have a total of 190 TK5 general education classrooms. Of those classrooms, like I just shared, we're projecting a need for 8 combination classes across the district. I also, that educate our students with exceptional needs. We have 21 classrooms that are combination classrooms as well. And those could be TKK, 1-2 combination, or a 3-4-5 across the district. I also wanted to share with you that as we look, towards this issue, if we were to eliminate, all 8 combination classes across the district, the cost of adding 8 classrooms would be about $1.3 million. So I just wanted to put that in context as well.
Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the pedagogical considerations of combination classes. And even though it wasn't requested, I want to point out that what I'm going to speak about is not only an issue to put 2 different grade levels together, but it's also an issue when you have a single grade. A single grade, as we know from doing having extensive screeners in place, we know that the range of any teacher's classroom is quite wide. So as I talk about the California standards tonight, I really want to make a plug for how we approach not only combination classes, but single grade classrooms as well. Common Core state standards are designed to support teaching in a combination classroom and a classroom of varying abilities. There is one of the best things about the standards is the vertical alignment across grade levels. They are intentionally sequenced from one grade to the next. They are overlapping. And I think if you look at the second bullet point is that when you're looking at the standards as they're designed to build upon each other, skills introduced in one grade are extended. They're not replaced. So I'll say that again. So in other words, as you go from grade level to grade level, it is not separate, it is extended. Again, the importance of even a single grade level classroom, understanding those standards in the grade before, the grades before, current grade, and the grades after. Because just as we're addressing the needs of kids that might be below grade level, it is important for a teacher to be able to enrich kids that are able to extend past the current grade level they are in. I wanted to just show some examples, and I'm going to do different grade levels. I'm going to start off with K1. Again, I'm referring to specifically the California state standards. One of the things when we're supporting all of our teachers in planning lessons is we give this visual of, we ask them to put all their curriculum out on their desk, right? Their wonders, their envision, their science, all the incredible integrated units. And then we visually want them to take the California state standards and put it on top of all of it. It is indeed the California state standards that drives instruction. All right, the curriculum is adopted by the governing board to support the California state standards. So it is the responsibility of all of us, and especially myself, to understand how these standards work. I have an example here from K1. This is taken from the literacy standards of reading literature, key ideas, and details. I color-coded. I wanted to show just, again, how it extends and not replaces. You look at RL reading, K1 with prompting and support. This is a kindergarten standard. Ask and answer questions about key details in a text. Right? So something is read to the student. There is scaffolding, prompting, support put in place to get from the students to answer and pull out details. And then you see as it builds into 1.1, which is a first grade standard, ask and answer questions about key details in a text. I want to make the point that no kindergartner who is not ready to move on to that 1.1 should ever be held back. And a first grader who still needs prompting and support should indeed get that support in any classroom that we have. If you look at RLK2 with prompting and support, I think you can kind of see how these are put together. We expect kindergartners by the end of the year to retell familiar stories, Jack and the Beanstalk, stories that they read aloud, including key details. And by the end of first grade, the expectation is to retell stories, including key details and central message. Again, we express to all our teachers that they must understand how the standards are layered, so all students are being taught at the appropriate level. Third one, again, you see is with prompting support. You see that gradual release from K to 1. But again, if you've ever taught first grade, you know that many times we cannot pull that prompting and support out right away. So again, it is critical that all of our teachers understand what the literacy standards are and what is the expectation by the end of the year. I looked at the English language arts standards for 4th and 5th in range of reading, and this is the expectations set forth by the California Common Core State Standards for grade 4 is by the end of the year that they can read and comprehend literature, stories, dramas, poetry, we want it all taught in grades 4, 5 text complexity band proficiently with scaffolding as needed in the high end of the range. I want to add here that if there's a 4th grader who is then reading at the 6th grade, we do not look at them and say, sorry, you're in 4th grade right now, and we will not be exposing you to anything beyond that. We are to work with the kids where they're at. In 5th grade, then the expectation is that they will, by the end of the year, be reading at the at high end of the grade 4 or 5 complexity band independently and proficiently. These are how the students are graded on our progress-based report card. This is grade comparing text types and writing. Indeed, if you look at 1st grade, the expectation is that they're writing opinion pieces. You should introduce the topic or name the book they're writing about. They should be, by the end of the year, be able to state an opinion, and then how that extends into 2nd grade. Again, introducing a topic or book they're writing about, stating an opinion, supplying reasons that support that opinion. Linking words come in at this point to connect opinions and reasons and provide a concluded statement or section. Again, in orange, I put an example from the informative explanatory text, and you can see the how it extends from grade 1 to grade 2. Again, this is how lessons are planned. In looking at what is the expectation for that student by the end of the year. And, I'll repeat it again, if they're ready to move past that expectation, they should. If they have not reached the expectation, then there should be things put in place that our teachers are quite skilled at in making sure that it is scaffolded as much as possible to get them up to that expectation. Moving on to the mathematics standards, here I'm looking at fluency standards. Fluency standards is, if you think back to your own schooling, it's learning your math facts, right? And what is the expectation in the California math standards in comparing kinder and 1st grade? So obviously addition and subtraction. First, I want to make a big shout out for counting. I think one thing we've learned from the UCLA math project, counting, TK all the way to 8th. That number sense makes strong mathematical thinkers. So if you looking at the fluent, this is just a specific fluency standard in K1. By the end of the year, we expect that they can solve addition and subtraction problems. Add and subtract within 10. They should be able to use objects or drawings to represent the problem in their understanding and fluently add and subtract within 5. In grade 1, this extends to add and subtract within 20, and they need to demonstrate fluency by the end of the year for addition and subtraction within 10. That means they just know it. So again, and you're probably tired of hearing this, that again, if a 1st grade is not yet fluently adding and subtracting within 5, the expectation is that that is where we start and move them towards the end of year grade 1 standard of fluency in subtraction addition to 10. Likewise, if a kindergarten student is ready to extend up into that 1st grade standard, they should never be held back. Another example from math is geometry 2-3. This is specifically from the California Math Standards of reasoning with shapes and their attributes. Grade 2, you can see for geometry lessons, teachers are working with the students on recognizing and drawing shapes and looking at the specific attributes like the faces, angles, how many sides does a triangle have, how many, it is based, I'm going to pull out that word, recognize, drawing, identifying. And then as we move into grade 3, this builds up into naturally starting to categorize, right? We've recognized, we have talked about specific attributes of shapes, and now in 3rd grade, the expectation is that they can start to categorize based on these shared attributes. Again, these flow into each other. It's critical that teachers understand all the grade level standards so they're able to meet the needs of all students in their classroom. I did looked at a synthesis of educational research I will say there's nothing specific that specifically talks to whether combination classes or cross-age classrooms in any way harm students, and nor are there strong results showing that it is something that should be pursued, if that makes sense. So, but I think what's interesting in the research is it talks a lot about not only academic achievement, but student engagement. So I want to just point out a couple things, and again, applying to any classroom, that there is studies where Burns and Mason showing that combination classes can lead to improved academic outcomes, but this depends on thoughtful student assignment and teacher quality. Also, Burke and Sast, I want to point out that students benefit from being in classroom with peers of similar, slightly higher abilities. That makes sense. Their research suggests that peer composition can influence individual performance. The other research that I could locate was on student engagement. This was a lot, probably one of the strongest to come out of the research is the idea that combination, no matter in combination classes, the idea of the importance of all students feeling emotionally supported. If they're emotionally supported, they're more likely to engage in learning activities, and that was this study. And Burke and Sass, again, talk about the engagement and how it can be influenced by the abilities of behaviors of peers within the classroom. I can't express enough the importance of the teacher. Our teachers are well-trained. Our teachers, you can see as our teachers are presenting, so many times they shed tears. They are so passionate about our students. I won't cry, but about our students. So student engagement has a lot to do with that important teacher, that role in the classroom. And then finally, looking at the synthesis of the research, I found the studies pulled out the concept of classroom emotional climate. Again, a positive classroom emotional climate is related directly to the relationship between the teacher and the student. Number one effect on student achievement is that relationship, and that directly enhances student engagement and academic achievement. Relationships. Burke and Sass, again, one of their research talks about peer composition in influence in student achievement, and that goes back to where I was talking about thoughtful composition. But again, part of our jobs as educators is not only academic, but it is teaching behavioral, enhancing kids' ability to get along with each other, their social, emotional health, their behavioral health, their physical, mental, emotional health. The teachers have a lot that they are, that they can influence, and our teachers do influence, that directly impact student achievement. So again, that was a synthesis of all of the educational research that I was able to locate. So this concludes our informational item, and that's the last slide. So again, I just want to stress that what I wanted to get across today is how the California state standards work. We teach standards, we use curriculum to support standards. And I think that's the key thing to remember, no matter what teaching assignment you have in our district.
Thank you for the presentation. Are there any comments from the audience?
Yes.
Would you please come forward? Thank you. State your name, please.
Hey, Stephen McIver again. Thanks for letting me talk. Again, appreciate it. Hey, listen to everything you just said. Followed up on some of the research really quick. The research by Mason and Burns that you brought up in your first point from 1997, which a little potentially outdated to me. But even if we said that's totally true, let's go through this. The research indicates that combination, multi-grade classes, which I wasn't actually sure which grades we're talking about because we're talking about kindergarten and first grade. I think they might have been talking about higher level grades. Anyways, next stat on this, it says, often presents challenges, including increased teacher workload and difficulties in delivering grade-specific curricula. Their findings do suggest that while some combination classes can be effective, success largely depends on factors like teacher experience and the deliberate assignment of students. So just saying that was a very broad statement and a very positive light that I feel like kind of missed out on a lot of the negative throughout that very old research. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments or discussions on the board? Go ahead, Dr. Ruiz.
I'm going to Ms. Castellano. What is the current birth date, cutoff date for students in grade level?
Well, for TK, it'll be September 2nd, I believe.
So in that class then, there are young people that are born September 2nd all the way through September 1st of the prior year.
Correct.
So kids within that class are possibly a year different in age.
Correct.
And so that I guess just to follow up with Ellen. So that suggests that any teacher teaching any grade has a range of things in developmental ability of students in that class. That's why the spiraling is so important, and making sure that the goals are set that you move them forward, not just where they are by their assigned grade level, but by where they're developing to, and then they may be below that because they're the youngest in their class.
Correct. Based on the screenings that we do in behavior, social emotional learning, and academics, we're finding that that the range in our classrooms are quite wide. And I agree with you, that is tough. That is tough for a teacher to have any class get your screening results and see that you might have kids that still aren't able to count to 100 and other kids that are ready to jump into fractions. And that is tough. That's tough. So I want to agree with you. It is, teaching is tough in any of the classrooms because of the wide range of students that exist in all of our classrooms. And as well as combination classrooms, I think adds that extra of making sure that you are aware of what each child by the end of the year must know.
So that's even single grade classrooms.
Correct.
Thank you.
Ms. Bruno?
Mr. Castellano, when you were talking about staffing for TK, you said 20 to 2. That's not 2 teachers, right? It's 1 teacher and 1 para?
Yes, correct. 2 adults, 1 teacher, 1 para.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Well, we're going to move to item 9.1, declaration of need for fully qualified educators. Mr. Castellano.
Good evening. This is something that we do every year as we look towards the following school year on our staffing needs. We need to submit to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing our declaration of need for fully qualified educators. We need this on file just in case next year we get to a place in August where we're going to need to hire maybe an emergency DPLAD teacher, an emergency TK teacher. So we're anticipating, as we look at this, we may need, some special educators. So it is recommended that the governing board approve the declaration of need for fully qualified educators for 25-26. And authorize our administrative staff to forward the declaration to the State of California Commission on Teacher Credentialing.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move. Second.
Motion by Ms. Bruno, second by Ms. Gomez. Are there any comments from the audience? Are there any comments or discussion from the board? Go ahead.
I just have one question. Is this due this month? Will all districts be sending to CTC what their needs are in terms of qualified?
Yes, it's usually in May when we bring this forward.
Is that like a deadline?
Or
is it just arbitrary?
I know it's what we do every year. Let's see. I can answer that question to know exactly what it's due.
If you find out, would you let me know?
Yes.
Are they, okay, I'm going to do the roll call. Ms. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Pablo?
Aye.
Dr. Luis?
Aye.
Ms. Bruno?
Aye.
And aye. Motion passes. Item 9.2, approval of employment contract for Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Dr. Walker.
Hi, good evening. I have really great news, and it also makes me sad because we all know that Ms. Cosgrove is retiring this year. And with her retirement, we're very excited to bring forward to you tonight the approval of a new contract for Dr. Soledad Molinar as our new Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services. So I'd like to go ahead and put this recommendation to the board and if approved, and I'd like to introduce Dr. Molinar here tonight.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'm so moved.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Luis, second by Ms. Gomez. Are there any comments from the audience? Are there any comments or discussion from the board? Roll call. Ms. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Pablo?
Aye.
Dr. Luis?
Aye.
Ms. Bruno?
Aye.
And aye. Motion passes.
All right, I think earlier, just in our discussion about combination classes and standards, we know how important it is to have somebody in our Ed Services role who has a deep understanding of education. And so we're excited to steal from Ventura Unified School District Dr. Molinar. So with that, I'd like to introduce you and give you the opportunity to...
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Walker. I just want to say thank you so much for entrusting me with this position. I am consistently in awe by the level of passion and commitment demonstrated by staff and the community. So I'm just looking forward to listening and learning and building strong relationships as we move forward. So thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Sure. I have my partner Javier Gonzalez and our daughters Lucy and Valentina.
Welcome.
Item 10.1, acceptance and first reading of proposed policies revisions. Dr. Walker.
Yes, tonight you have a variety of policies for first reading before you. So please, over the next month, take a look at these policies. If you have any questions or changes, please let Cynthia or I know before the next board meeting. Otherwise, we'll bring them forward for a second reading.
Do we have a motion to accept?
I'll second.
Motion by Dr. Ruiz, second by Ms. Bruno. Are there any comments from the audience? Are there any comments from the board? Roll call, Ms. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. San Pablo?
Aye.
Dr. Ruiz?
Aye.
Ms. Bruno?
Aye.
And I. Motion passes. Item 11.1, trustees reports. Ms. Bruno?
Well, I had the pleasure of going to see Ia Green's version of Something Rotten Jr. It was wonderful.
The kids are amazing to get up there and sing a solo in front of an auditorium full of people. I was there on Saturday and it was pretty full. And so I enjoyed that. I also did the Ventura County School Board Association dinner on AI, and I liked the way it was presented, where he talked for a while, he gave scenarios, then he gave us time at our tables to discuss that scenario. And before we discussed, he asked, well, who thinks this should happen, who doesn't think? And then at the end, he wanted us to see if we had changed our opinion by discussion, and then also vote again. And so it was a really good meeting. And then today, I got to spend 3 hours with Chuck and got an ethics training. That's it.
Ms. Gomez? Ms. San Pablo?
Okay, so I was not here last month because we were in Washington, D.C. advocating for our students. So our topics that we focused on was funding for special education. As you know, Trump always brings something new to the table, and education is a big topic right now. So there were a lot of protests like for the White House the whole time we were there. So that was interesting. And then I also attended the VC SBA dinner meeting on AI, which was very interesting because it took it a step further as to not just like thinking about artificial intelligence in general, but actually talking about what's acceptable and what is not in a classroom setting and what teachers can use it for, what students can use it for. So it was very insightful to just like, it just brought up so many questions for us that it's important to have these conversations with our teachers and our students, not just us. So that was really nice. That's it. Thank you.
And I did go to the presentation of AI, and yes, it was very different. At the beginning, a lot of board members were nervous about the topic, but it was so well presented, and it gave us the opportunity to listen. And what I love about was different scenarios, like Ms. Bruno said, presented to us as a teacher, as a student. What would you say? And it was so great because we had one of the students as a school board who also was there and was giving, the side of the student as an AI. Also, like Ms. Pablo said, it was about when we get to there, because we have to create a policy for it, that let's bring everybody together. Let's bring the community, the teachers, the students, talk about it. And that way we can have a very good plan. But at the end of the session, they even talk about the English second language students and how would that help them instead of feeling that it's gonna hurt them more. But in the end, I think a lot of people changed their minds about AI, and we were not as nervous as we thought that we would with that topic. And Dr. Walker, 11.2, superintendent. Oh, so sorry, Doctor. I'm so sorry. My apologies, Doctor.
Would you feel bad if I said nothing to report? Actually, I did spend the day early today talking about ethics, and it is something that I think we all need to think about with all the decisions we make. Talked about all the problems we might encounter through conflicts of interest. but there was a lot more like this. There's some legislation I wasn't even aware of that really make it very difficult for us to make some decisions. I'm sorry I missed the AI presentation last month. I don't know how I did it, just not on my calendar. But I've been using generative AI for about a little over a year now with my master's and doctoral students. And it has tremendous potential for equalizing learning. And I'm glad to see that you had some good experiences with it. And we did already adopt some changes to our artificial intelligence policy. So we may want to look at that again, but we just did that last month. And the other thing that I've been working on, I've been working with school districts around California the last month on their understanding of their roles as school board members. So I worked in Alameda and Riverside and in LA area. And every time I do that with the school boards, I appreciate this school board more. So that's my review.
Thank you for doing that. Now, 11.2, Superintendent Report.
Well, I want to start by saying thank you to Ms. Kahlberg and to our Visual and Performing Arts team. It was always inspiring at this meeting, and it is really exciting when I think about where we were 10 years ago in terms of visual and performing arts and the opportunities that our students have now. I know that at our last educational partners meeting, both our parent representatives as well as our student representatives just shared about the opportunities that they have both during the day as well as after school. So whether it be theater or band, mariachi, dance, fine art, visual art, there's a lot that's really grown over the last 10 years. So thank you, Ms. Kahlberg, and we look forward to next year as well. So we started CASP testing today, at least at our schools that had electricity. So it's always a little bit of a hiccup, and we had at least 2 schools that were impacted today. Many residents were impacted today due to electricity, so thank you to staff and parents and principals and everyone who had to pivot. I know we do a lot kind of like leading up to that kickoff day, and then all of a sudden your school doesn't have electricity, and that's a little bit of an issue, so kids we figured even if the electricity all of them. Just a reminder that staff appreciation is going on this month, so if you have the opportunity to stop by any of the schools, I know that staff would love to hear from you, and thank you to our families for joining us tonight. I've had the opportunity to communicate with many of you over the last month, and will continue to do so. And that's all I have to report tonight.
Thank you.
Madam President, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Which CASP tests did we start today?
The English language arts.
And then we succeed with math, and then are we doing science this year?
Yeah, so science happens in grades 5 and grades 8. So students in 3 through 8 take language arts and math.
And are we doing the Spanish test this year?
We are doing the Spanish test for students who are in dual language programs, and I believe we are testing in grades 4 and 7.
And those are after English?
Yes, it's after. And we selected grades 4 and 7 because we know they're testing science in grades 5 through 8, and so that made the most sense.
And there's a lot of assessments we're doing this time, so thank you.
Moving on to item 11.3, suggested future agenda items.
I just have one.
Go for it.
I'd like to see us calendar having community input on cell phone usage in schools before we develop the required policy. And the date, I think, is August. It's due. When is it due? You remember?
It's due next year.
I know it's next year, but what month?
I can't remember. I think it's due July 1st, 2026.
Okay. So, we get close. I just want to make sure we have adequate input from the parents.
Anything else? Anybody else? Okay.
Item 12. We will now go to closed session at 7:36 to discuss labor negotiations and a confidential student matter and a public employee matter. Thank you so much. Thank you, parents, for being here today. We really appreciate you. Have a great night.